I will say, yesterday I fell asleep right after the fourth quarter of the Chargers game, and then I woke up at 3 a.m, wired. Just again because of the not hungover, but I drank a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was on my recliner watching the game, and I was like in and out. But then I remember just when they took the lead, the Mike Williams touchdown. Shouts to my boy Herbert. We're back, baby. Top 5.
500 total yards of offense for the Chargers yesterday.
Top 5. Only quarterback in NFL history for 380 passing yards and 90 rushing yards. It's always good when you want him to win MVP when you hear the first time ever bars.
I'll say this, though. I mean, the Steeler defense was less than 100%, to say the least.
Definitely missing their guys.
Yeah. Me, big Sims guy, he believes, their defense is known as being very intricate, very detailed, right? Very confusing for a quarterback. And so when you're down all of those guys, since Fitzpatrick is, that leader on the defense.
Watt also.
Yeah. And so just from the perspective of you can't maybe be as elaborate on defense, you can't get as creative because you have, your second string and maybe even third strings in the game. So what's once a very detailed defense, and again, it became a little bit more vanilla yesterday. But they came back. So,
Dude, Chargers did everything in their power to give that game away.
They almost chargered it.
It was so frustrating. I'm like, what is going on, dude?
The block punt, right?
Yeah, we got to make the playoffs bet, too.
Yeah.
We got MVP. Like, don't do this to Lamb.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are taking off, so.
Chiefs are hot, too.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Chiefs in a second. But what do you think of how Herbert and that offense looked? Because they should be – that is the strength of the team. Their defense is very weird because if you look at their defense on paper, there's a lot of names that you like.
Yeah.
But it just seems as if it's...
Well, I was going to say, why can't they why can't they stop the run?
I think it's the makeup of their defense looks small. Like their D tackles are like 290 pounds.
They're built to stop the pass, obviously, which makes sense.
And they have a very good secondary. And if you look at the teams in your division, granted the quarterback play in Denver isn't that great, but they just paid Sutton today. They paid Tim Patrick before the game. But before week 11.
He's the best 3-4 receiver in the league, that guy.
Dude, look at their wide receiver sets.
Yeah.
And don't forget about Hamler, who tore his ACL, who is the fastest of the bunch.
Someone always goes down on the team, and he's always the one that will step in and be mad solid for
and
them,
light it up.
Right?
Yeah, he was cooking Trayvon Diggs a couple weeks ago. So a lot of speed, a lot of weapons, fire offense, quarterback holding him back a little bit. Prior to the Henry Ruggs situation with the Raiders, had some pieces that were interesting there, and obviously the Chiefs. So in division, that's probably why you got all those DBs. But Austin Eckler going crazy too.
Four tutties total.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first running backs, I can't remember since, it could be LT, I could be wrong. 2 receiving touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns.
Seems like a LT stat line,
yeah.
Right? That was an impressive win, though.
Yeah. Also, Keenan Allen's getting a whole bunch of targets again, and Keenan Allen is like, when I think of Keenan Allen, high volume guy, right? He'll kill you to death on 9-yard fucking ins and 12-yard outs and button, glad to see he's kind of filling up the stat sheet again from that perspective, because there was a couple weeks over there was a stretch of time where the Chargers were struggling a little bit on offense, and it makes sense that Keenan Allen wasn't going, and now you see the offense is going, and so is Keenan Allen, so that's good to see, obviously, as well.
And also Mike Williams finally got over 60 yards for the first time, I think, in 5 games, and scored the big touchdown there to give him the win. But this was a good performance by the Steelers too, dude. They put up 27 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I know a lot of that was the Chargers about to charger it, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And look, he gets a lot of heat, but I thought that was the best game Big Ben played all season.
It's funny because I'm going to laugh because, think of the quarterbacks that played this week. Mm-hmm. Just, let's rattle them off. Like Flacco, give me another not garbage, but give me another.
Tim Boyle.
Simeon, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of kind of, the quarterbacks aren't impressive right now in the league. Where I feel like if you go back a few years, it's a lot. If it seems like a lot of teams have their franchise quarterback. Go think back a couple of years. That was probably the case. A few years ago, each offseason was maybe it's 5 or 6 teams you may think need a new quarterback. Go into the next offseason, it could be over 10 teams, potentially even more, that need a quarterback. So when you think about it from that perspective and you think of Big Ben, maybe he can play a little bit longer because you're right. He is playing at a higher level. And sometimes it's just one of those things. Look around. Like, there ain't that much better out there.
Nah, look, I don't want to say that he's playing at a higher level. This is the best game that he played this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just saying this is better than what's out there right now, I think.
Right. Well, that's always the $1 million question, or in some cases, the $100 million question in the NFL. Yeah, I want to replace Baker. I want to replace Big Ben. I want to replace whoever it might be. Well, what's available behind them? What's out there? Yeah, sometimes you got to put up with Teddy Bridgewater because what's behind it? Trevor Siemian and Brock Osweiler's of the world, these like backup quarterbacks.